Hi everyone, it's Kirsten from Happy Little Quilt Shop. This is video number 2 in the NS80E series from Brother. My friend got this machine and so I'm teaching her all the ins and outs of it so that she can join us in this awesome hobby. Today we are going to cover some of the basic functionality of the machine and the accessories and feet that come with it. Let's get into it!
I'm in front of the Brother NS80E now. This is a slightly overhead view, and we're going to go over the accessories. This is your straight spool pin. It's an additional accessory that comes with the machine. If you're using straight wound thread, you'll want to use the spool pin. It's very easy to insert and remove with that little peg. If you're using cross wound thread, use your horizontal spool. This is your tension adjustment. It should always be around 4, but depending on the fabric and the thickness of the fabric that you're working with, you may need to adjust it a little bit higher or a little bit lower. And there are recommendations in your manual for how to adjust your tension. Now let's go over some of the buttons here. This is your speed slider. Less arrows, less speed, more arrows, more speed. Needle up down cycling. When you click this button, your needle will cycle down and then click again to lift it. Lock stitch button, reverse, and start stop. So you don't always have to use your foot control. When you're using the reverse, you'll hold the button down, the machine will go in reverse, it will stop the moment that you stop holding that button down or depressing your foot control. And you'll want to press your foot control or hit your start stop button to continue going forward again. Now, over to the right on the machine, we have a lot of other buttons around here too. You have a twin needle button. You have a back stitch button. You have your stitch length adjustment, and you'll notice that little oval that appears and disappears. When it appears, that is the default setting on the machine. You also have stitch width adjustments. This will cause your machine to go into a zigzag depending on the stitch length that you have. And again, when it's at default at 0, you get that oval. Now, you have 80 stitches, to be specific on this machine. You have a stitch card, and then they are on the front of the machine, and they're all numbered. Use this dial to change the stitch on your machine, and you'll notice something here in a second. In the upper left corner of your screen, you have a little foot, and now, instead of saying J, it says G. So depending on the stitch that you've selected, the machine will recommend a foot for that stitch. You'll always want to use the recommended foot because the machine will perform at its best with that recommended foot. You'll also notice that you have a little icon here, and this is showing that when you stop stitching, the needle is going to be down into the fabric. We're going to go over all of the feet and accessories in a minute here. But again, just a reminder, you'll always want to use the recommended foot with the stitch for the best performance. Now, here is my giant pile of accessories that come with this machine. Let's go over exactly what comes with it and what they're used for. We're going to go over the feet first. We have a zipper foot. This zipper foot you can use to the left or right of center, so you don't have to fiddle with your project and keep moving it around. You can simply adjust your needle position to use it. We have an M foot, which is our button fitting foot. This is a pretty unique one to this machine. We also have an R foot, which is our blind stitch foot. You'll notice that it has a guide right down the center. Sometimes this is also called a stitch in the ditch foot. We have the N foot, which is called the monogramming foot. Some people also call this a decorative stitch or an applique foot. And you'll notice the sole in terms of width and length is different on each of these feet because they all have a specific purpose. This is the G foot, and this one also has a guide on it, but it's also a little bit offset. The G foot is your overcasting foot. You have an eyelet punch tool, very handy for those buttonholes. You have a thread net. If you're using a larger cone spool, you might need this. You have a pack of needles. Now on needles, they will sometimes have different colored tips, and if you break out the magnifying glass, you can see the size of the needle on the needle shaft. Needles also come in packages like this little envelope that will tell you the size and type of needle. This happens to be a twin needle in this package. You have a cleaner for your machine. It's got a little pick on one end and a brush on the other, and we will go over the care and upkeeping of your machine in another video. You have a seam ripper, good old Jack the Ripper. Sometimes we have to do that frog stitch, rip it, rip it, rip it. You have your first screwdriver. This one I like to use to change my needle. It fits under there nicely, and there's no chance that you're going to drop it. This is an additional screwdriver, and this one I like to use for my needle plate because I can get it right under there and I don't have to worry about bumping anything. You have a large spool cover and a small spool cover, and your medium spool cover is the one that came on your machine on the spool pin. You also have a buttonhole foot. This one adjusts, which is great, so you can determine the exact size that you need for your buttonhole. And bobbins, the most important thing. I'm Kirsten from Happy Little Quilt Shop. This is me and the Brother NS80E signing off. Our next video will be covering the care and upkeep of your machine. See you soon.